Hello, everybody. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. Theme of the week around eating seems to be safety. And if you aren't a member of the free Facebook group that's been running for quite a long time, I get involved in it when there's a program running strongly and then fade back. But there's always interesting articles and posts and sharing. Be sure to check the link below for the free Facebook group and just join it, because I've been doing weekly Facebook Live videos right there only for that group. And you can ask your questions and leave comments and come on in and join us. But the theme is safety. Safety. And don't we notice that lack of safety around food and eating, a sense of not being able to trust anything, especially ourselves, is something that many of us have felt for ages. I felt such an incredible lack of safety around my own self and what I was going to do with food, that it was at the high level, like almost panic level. And I've talked to people this week that have had Thanksgiving feasts, and I know it's the holiday season at the time of this recording, but there's always big feasts around gatherings, no matter when you're watching this or what you've experienced around social gatherings. There's almost always food included in every culture for millennium. And there's expectation that there will be overabundance, just a huge amount of overabundance. And people sometimes find that unsafe in certain ways, kind of psychologically, mentally, a fear around all this extra that could go to waste, and also all this extra that could be eaten. That if they really, let go of that barrier that says don't go there, they will just eat from one end of the kitchen to the other through all the cupboards and everything and never, ever, ever stop. Of course, we always do wind up stopping, but it's so uncomfortable if you've ever had a binge. But even graze eating can be very, very uncomfortable. But something simple today. Let's just look at something very, very simple today. And that is, it is only part of your mind that is unsafe. The mind has an incredible capacity. Every single person who's born have an incredible capacity to be in the observer mind, kind of a wise mind, a compassionate mind, something that is loving. And you might even say, if you've had a lot of trouble with any addictive process, that's not me. I always fall away from that. But we wind up thinking in terms of kind of the way we act often, or the strategy to work with a sense of lack of safety, like those cravings and those pleasure centers and those incredible wanting that kind of comes over us. It feels almost like we're in a trance, like zombies or something. And we're just going to eat even though our mind is screaming not to, or to go ahead and do it. It is like there's two opposing things happening. There's a war, there's fighting, or 20 people on the committee screaming around the table. And I sometimes like to think of that as that's sort of, Michael Singer referred to that as a maniac place, a maniacal kind of place, with all the different voices and images and memories and awareness and teachings and all the diet books we've read and nutrition and what should be eaten and what should not be eaten and what dangers are going to be if we eat that or don't eat that. Just watching the gathering of that volume of information and the way the mind will just spurt out, constantly churning out communication of some kind. And there's a place that is beyond that can just watch, that can just observe and relax and be there. The don't know mind is referred to by Byron Katie. The place where we don't know a solid set answer. It's the energy, in a way, that we're bringing to this experience of eating, which is a basis for life. Those who eat want to live. We're supplying the food with the body with energy, with food. We're taking in some of the universe. Let's just question that it is not safe to do that. So just noticing when you have anxiety come up, you're anticipating maybe there's food and it's accompanied by a lot of people, and people have been scary sometimes, their judgment, their ideas, their words. Just noticing what we think of as threatening, scary, anxiety-ridden, and having some mercy for yourself that you have thought this. Instead of just saying, often there are two strategies for working with it. One is give up completely, total apathy, despair. I can't do anything about this, so I'm just going to lay on the floor and do nothing. I won't try. I don't care. And I'll eat whatever I want, whatever. But you're not happy. But the other one is to fight and control and be rigid and extreme. Or if you're like me, you might flip-flop between the two. I'm going to get a program. I'm going to get this thing on the road. I'm going to get this show on the road. We're going to make this happen. I'm going to go to the gym and lift weights and eat this certain way and cook this certain way. And you have a whole mapped, whatever, however it looks. That never means that you shouldn't be eating a certain way that actually does work for you. It's the energy around it. Either lack of safety, meaning very slight threat, all the way to a large one. But just can you work with that mind that's busy? Because that's the greatest threat of all, right? That busy, chaotic, wordy, communicating one that has its ideas and then you have feelings that follow it. Can we work with that? And just think of that as like a little Tasmanian devil. It's your little pet. Because you've got the capacity and the ability, it is in you already to be the observer. You just sit still for a few minutes and listen to the mind and let it just run. You're doing it. Sometimes people think if they meditate and their voice is very loud inside their head that they're not meditating. But that's not true. Some full part of you is sitting still and meditating. You can't turn off the mind. It's too late. It's already on. It's just doing what it does. So let's be interested in that, curious, just watching what it does. Mind is very busy sometimes, very busy, especially when there's all these different opposing ideas that don't seem to be really loving and compassionate and in our true nature. And a lot of the ideas about being thin and what we're supposed to be eating and how we're supposed to look and what it's supposed to be like and what our body's supposed to present like, those are very opposing and difficult. But let's just find safety today. Safety can exist in any moment, including moments that are filled with food, plates of food that have been prepared, feasts that are happening, people all over the place. You can sit down and find safety and relax. I have a little joke with myself. When you're a kid, sometimes in the United States, you learn what happens when your clothes catch on fire. I'm like, like in second grade or something. Here's what you do in case your clothes catch on fire. I think we learned that in school. It's kind of like, okay, like that happens every day, all right. But the idea is stop, drop, and roll. And I never forgot it. Stop, drop, and roll. Like you're just supposed to fall to the ground and start rolling around to put the flames out. You can do that with your emotional reaction, with your sense of what's going on with food. Now, I know that might sound a little funny to be in your kitchen and actually dropping to the floor and rolling around on the floor, but bringing a little humor into this whole thing is quite entertaining because we get very serious about our eating issues, don't we? And the dire nature of them. But you can imagine, even if you'd never do that in real life, you can imagine doing that as you enter a large gathering full of family or friends or people or workplace situations and all those plates of all that food. And just think about your own mind. Stop, drop, and roll. Just sit down somewhere Sit down somewhere. You don't have to make small talk. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You don't have to eat anything you don't want to eat. And you can eat things that you want to eat. It's okay to try them if that's right for you. It's often right for me. So just relaxing, just noticing lack of safety. Think, don't I need to do something after I notice how unsafe that I feel around food and eating, and even projecting like what I'm going to eat tomorrow and how I'm going to handle that situation in the future, anticipating the worry, the concern that I'm going to have. Just noticing that you have it. That is an amazing way to slow down the mind. You're watching, I wonder what's going on. You might feel like you can treat yourself like you're a loving parent to a little child that's scared of a nightmare. What would you do in that situation? The child thinks their clothes are on fire. So just be gentle. You can be gentle and kind. And we all have that capacity. You have that capacity for other people or other creatures. You do it to yourself, to that part of the mind that is just incredibly busy, panicked, wanting to find a solution, thinking that it's threatened. Say, I'm safe in the presence of all this food. I'm safe in the presence of all these people. Just notice examples of how you are safe. Nobody's attacking you. Nobody's hitting you with a whip. There's a chair available for you in the room. Food is just being itself, sitting on plates. Notice the most simple thoughts, awareness of safety. This can make such a huge difference in your experience, your energy when it comes to food and eating, the energy of safety. So let me know how it goes. And by the way, everybody, preparing a really wonderful live online webinar, like a workshop. And I'm going to offer it 6 different times in January. Everyone is welcome. I will explain and share at the end of that webinar about the Eating Peace experience that's starting at the end of January. But you'll get a lot out of the webinar whether you sign up for the Eating Peace experience or not. It's just fun at this time of year before I begin to prepare for that program to put together something that people might really enjoy. And then I can answer your questions too at the end of it on the Eating Peace experience. So watch for that. Make sure that you're on the Eating Peace mailing list, because those are the people who will get the information about when the webinars and the online workshops are, when they're happening and what time. All right. Lots of love to you. Let's have a wonderful December. I know it's possible. A safe one, internally safe. Noticing how safe we are. Lots of love.